Watching Kyle's unboxing videos again?
Yeah, he always finds the coolest... No way! A robot dog? Gotta ask where he got it.
Or use your Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Just draw a circle around the dog on your screen, and it shows you where to buy it right in the app.
Whoa, I just learned a new trick. And that for once, I beat Kyle to the next big thing.
Circle it, find it with the new Galaxy S24 Ultra and circle the search with Google. Get yours now at Samsung.com. Internet connection required. Results may vary based on visuals.
A fabulous free kick from Leighton Baines. Dawson, oh, what a finish from Glenn Dawson, it's 2-0. It's scored by Tim Cahill in injury time for Everton. Matheson, the 16-year-old, to Wilbraham, the 40-year-old. Stunning from James Rodriguez. And here into Henderson! And Ian Henderson, right on half-time.
Welcome everybody to episode 9 of the Men in Blue podcast. My name is Greg, I'm a Rochdale supporter. I'm here as ever with Jimmy and Matt. Sorry, I stumbled then. Jimmy and Matt, Everton supporters. How you doing, lads? You okay?
Not so bad. Glad the season's over. It was torturous and horrendous, which most seasons are for Everton. Obviously, though, in the last 24 hours, quite literally, we have had something else crop up. It was going to be quite a quiet podcast until most recent news, but we will get on to that.
Certainly it was, mate. I was all fully warmed up. Just a bit of a Euros preview, maybe looking back over the Champions League and the Europa League finals. And then, yesterday happened. Well, we recorded on a Wednesday. Tuesday the 1st of June happened, and we're back to square one.
We're now looking for, is it our 4th manager in 4 years or something like that? We were looking for a new manager when we sacked Marnes in 2016.
Yeah.
Koeman again in about 2018. Silva in 2019. Allardyce as well's in there somewhere. Basically, apart from 2020, we've been looking for a manager each of the last 4 or 5 years at some point.
Yeah.
Which, considering we had Moyes for 11 years, is like crazy statistic.
I'm just saying to Matt just before we started recording that it all seemed to happen quite quickly. Is that something you can't really prepare for it, obviously? But is this something that may have started last week or the week before?
I think it's gone on behind the scenes for a lot longer than we think. We've known about Zidane potentially leaving Real Madrid for a while. I think Ancelotti's had half a mind on the Real Madrid return before it was even announced Zidane was leaving Madrid. And I think it's evidenced by the Everton performance against a very good Man City team. But you don't go there and lose 5-0 and down tools when you've got a chance of Europe. You just don't. And I think it's evidenced by the fact that, James has been sent home from the Colombia squad for not being fit enough, but the fact that he was flying out to Colombia, to see his family as well, which he's not seen for a while during a pandemic, and we've got to respect that footballers human too. But the fact that he wasn't at all available for the last couple of games, flew out to South America for the final game of the season, wasn't even in the ground, which, in the context of seeing his family's fine, but it goes to show there was a whole apathy around the place towards the last couple of games of the season when it was realised that European football probably wasn't going to happen. And I think that does indeed stem down to the fact the manager, ex-manager I should say now, as is the food chain of any business, has received a more lucrative offer, a chance to go back to a former club and win the one domestic, in inverted commas, Big Five league that he's not yet won.
Oh, has he not actually won it?
No, he won the European Cup with Real Madrid, but never won La Liga.
Didn't know that.
But obviously, in terms of the actual media stuff, it did happen quite quickly. It literally happened in one day, but I think it's been on the cards for a few weeks.
It felt that way. I mean, like I say, I first saw the rumours and the tweets about 10 o'clock on the Tuesday morning, and the fact that it was announced by 4 o'clock, 4:30 that evening. Those things don't happen unless it's like deadline day transfers. Those things don't happen inside a day. That's been in the the fact that he's in Madrid as we speak, and he's already had his first press conference and that kind of stuff. this has been in the works for the past week. I don't think Everton were expecting it. But here we are. I mean, it's a strange thing because I can't blame him for leaving, because if Real Madrid come calling, of course you're going to go. I'd go, for Christ's sake. You know, it's compared to where Everton are at the moment, you really can't sit here and say that, you know, he's going backwards or anything like that. It is just a bit of a shock that it all happened so quickly, especially when a couple of weeks ago he was talking about, you know, seeing out his contract and being here when the new stadium opens and that kind of stuff. I think it's just an epitome of football that if the money's there and if the job's there, he's going to go. That's just it, you know. There's nothing you can do about it. And we've now got to move on, and we've got to treat this as a learning experience of what it's like to have a manager in that calibre in place, and also that it was a gamble taking him, because at any given point he might get snatched up by a bigger club, and that's just the unfortunate nature, unfortunately.
What gets me though is it's not so much the fact that he's gone, but and I should point out, back to Real Madrid, of course. He's already been there once, and I think fell out with the owners, because let's face it, Florentino Perez is not the easiest man to get on with if you're a football manager. He does have a habit of changing managers more than he changes underwear. And it's more that a few weeks ago, like you say, Matty was saying, I want to move into Bramley Moore, I've got a contract until 2024, I want to try and get Everton into the Champions League. Okay, he's saying that as Everton manager, he's saying what the fans want to hear. But to come out and say that, and then even in interviews go, oh, it's flattering that Real Madrid are interested in me, but no, I can't speak on that. It's, you know, I'm staying at Everton basically. A bit like a player would, or, you know, I can't comment on another club's players, or I can't comment on another club. You know, my contract's here, blah blah blah. But to come out and say he's going to stay and he's not interested, and then it just be as soon as Real Madrid come calling. Don't get me wrong, it's Real Madrid, but also it's a tough one, because it's a job he's done. He's been there, he's done it. What, apart from winning the league, what more does he realistically think he's going to do? Admittedly, as well, if you look at the group of players Real Madrid have got now, they're fine. They're very good. They're better than what we've got. Don't get me wrong. And I maybe look like a fool in many years' time when they've won their 14th European Cup and done the treble with the Copa del Rey and the La Liga title. But do you really think that he's going to take them back to where they want to be, winning everything? If I'm a Real Madrid fan right now, go on.
If you look at it from Real Madrid's point of view, when Zidane announced he was leaving, who else would they feasibly going to go for? That Antonio Conte. That's really about it. There's no one else that it stands out as an immediate prospect.
At the time, they could have had Allegri, but he's gone back to Juventus again. What is it with returning managers this summer? Obviously, the biggest one being Pochettino going back to Tranmere, but you know, yeah, you know, exactly. What is it with that? Oh, don't tell me we're going to get Martinez or Moyes back though. Oh my word, don't.
The rumours are.
But Big Sam's free. Oh no. but I just, if I'm a Real Madrid fan, thinking, okay, he's obviously got a history at Real Madrid. He's done really, really well to win the European Cup there. The first time they won the European Cup in about 12 years, when they won it in 2014. And he won the Copa del Rey. That was the final. I think Bale scored in that goal where he basically ran off the pitch, came back on and scored.
Yeah.
It was unreal. But look at his record since then. He lost his job at Real Madrid. I don't know. I think he may have even been sacked or he walked. I don't know. Can't remember now. But he went to Bayern Munich and did really well, but couldn't deliver the biggest prize. Then was it Napoli where he got sacked?
Yeah.
And then us, where he got sacked at Napoli and replaced by Gattuso, who I think's now gone to Fiorentina, because he was doing so badly in the league at Napoli. And then Everton were okay. What gets me is he had such. He had the backing of the fans. He had the love of the fans more than anything. He could do he would get things wrong. He would make mistakes. We've had some awful performances last season. Certainly at home. Our home form killed our chances of, never mind Champions League, Conference League football. You know. And he wasn't blameless in that, but he was given the love, the adulation, the respect, that give him time, give him transfer windows. He wants his players in. He's look what he can do with, an expensively assembled, and I must admit, very talented group of footballers individually, but with some, quite frankly, awful attitudes. Let's not forget here, he's an awful home record this season, and we finished 10th in the league. Previous season, we finished 12th. And okay, he came in not partway through the season. I'm not saying, I'm glad he's gone. I'm not. But that's not a record if you're a Real Madrid fan. You look at and go, he's taken Everton team with £50 million Richarlison, £45 million Gylfi Sigurdsson, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's been one of the top scorers in the Premier League this season, I think. The England number one keeper, Jordan Pickford. Okay, he's a bit dodgy, but, he's got Luca Dean, he's got all these players in the side, James Rodriguez when he's fit. And he's come below, with the greatest respect, Leeds, who've just been promoted under Bielsa. Arsenal, who have been an absolute meme this season. And a Spurs side who've just not got going. And he's still come 10th. He's not like he's come in the top four, which, okay, if he'd have come in the top four and then left, we'd have gone, you know what, fair enough. Because he's got us in the top four, he's done an amazing job, he's earned it. I don't actually feel like Ancelotti's earned the job at Real Madrid again. Because you've come 10th in the league with a very, very talented squad of players.
I think it starts to say more about the state of the Spanish league and the big clubs in the Spanish league. The fact you've got Ronald Koeman at Barcelona, who, they bottled La Liga last season to a certain extent. He's not, did a decent job at Southampton, had a good start with us, and then it all kind of went downhill. I think that's probably more to do with recruitment than anything else.
It was more to do with the Steve Welsh recruitment side and also, let's not forget the rough start of fixtures we had in the 2017-18 season. I still think we should have given Koeman more time, as much as I thought he wasn't the best manager. I thought he should have been given more time. But
I would agree.
The fact that we've got two ex-Everton managers in El Clasico next season is ridiculous.
Well, that's my point. I think it kind of shows the state of those clubs more. Because look at Barcelona's transfer business. No, they haven't. They've bought, I say bought in inverted commas. Wijnaldum's joined, Aguero's joined.
Has Wijnaldum actually gone now?
It's all
been confirmed, is it?
Pretty much. But that's a free transfer.
They were after him last summer, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Aguero on a
pretty
free. A lad from Betis on a free as well. Not on a free. He's got a lad from Betis. They've brought a few players in.
And there's talks of Memphis Depay going as well. I think it's more just... that Madrid side, all right, Champions League semi-finalists, don't get me wrong. It's full of a lot of good players, but I think, I don't know, it's a strange one that a manager can finish 10th in the Premier League. And okay, so they got on points to be finished on 59 points, was it this season? I think a lot of us seasons that would have got you in and around the top 7, to a certain extent. Yeah. It's a strange appointment from them, but
the fact that we came fourth on 6. Okay, we're talking 15 years ago. We came fourth with 61 points.
I think it shows
and then we came fifth under Martin's first season with 72, and 72 points would have been enough for what? I don't know, third, 3, maybe even second this season.
I don't think Liverpool hit 70 points.
And we came fifth. I'm not suggesting that, where is us? Look at us when we do well. We just not good enough. Because at the end of the day, you're only as good as you're placing in the league. And 59 points this season wasn't good enough for anything higher than 10th because we weren't good enough. But
it's a strange thing.
There's positives to what Ancelotti did, but
a part of me, yesterday when it was announced, I was gutted because I was intrigued to see what he could build with the backing of the board. We were going into an interesting summer transfer window where, the money wasn't there in big amounts, but you felt there was a transfer window in particular where you were hoping a lot of the dead ball was going to go. We were going to bring in something different. He was going to get a team which was starting to resemble something that he would want. And we're back to square one. And as to who comes in, has got a hell of a job in their hands this summer because they've got a squad which is still in need of repair. And it's a team that doesn't really have a style of play. It doesn't have an image. It doesn't have... Okay, that's how Everton play. It's still got this disjointed kind of feel to it where they can grind out results when it matters, but it's still not quite what you want to see from an Everton team. And whoever's going in,
why is it disjointed, Matt?
Oh, I agree. It's to do
why is
recruitment.
It disjointed? Think about it. Coleman bought by Moyes. Players there that have been bought by Martinez, Koeman, Allardyce, Silva. There's so many managers that have come in over the last 4, 5, 6 years that you can't have a team in the image of a manager when we keep changing. The only exceptions to the rule I can think of that do well at this is Chelsea, but we're not Chelsea. We haven't got Abramovich's billions. We've got Mashiri's millions. Don't get me wrong, but I don't understand why we're always back to square one, like you say. And it seems to be that now there's going to be a whole raft of players that's perfectly honest to be breathing a sigh of relief that Ancelotti's gone, because there's going to be a new man come in, and what does the new manager do? He fresh start, clean slate. Everyone gets another try. And there's some players in that team now that don't deserve another chance. They've had too many chances under too many managers, and they're the ones that, as much as the manager did at times last season, that let us down. And it frustrates me that we can't seem to have, when were our best seasons, probably in your memory, being an Everton supporter, I'd say between maybe 2007 2009, when David Moyes, don't get me wrong, he had his critics, he was never going to win anything with us really, but we had a solid team, a solid identity, a decent home record, not perfect, did okay in the Cups, did alright in Europe, finished 5th in the league, which is, a pipe dream at the moment, with a team that was a fraction of the cost of what managers have had since to spend.
No, I agree.
Because he had a chance to build a team in his image and an identity. Whereas now we've had so many different managers, so different types of players. We don't have a clue who's coming or going. And the only thing I will say this time is at least we haven't sacked the manager. We haven't still not paid him off. Because
it's been nice when someone's left us.
Because we're paying off about 5 different managers. It's been in a way, it's actually a relief that we've actually got some blooming money for it rather than sacking another manager. But it just is frustrating that you want somebody to just buy into Everton and believe in the club. And I'm not suggesting that, turn down Real Madrid. But if you've been there, if you know the politics behind the club, if you know that you know what goes on, let's face it, you can say it's hard to say no to Real Madrid, but there will be people that will say no to Real Madrid. Real Madrid don't get everyone they want. Sure. Because at the end of the day, someone will just go, it's not worth it. It's not, if they're 2-0 down at home to Sevilla in the 5th game of the season, the fans getting the white hankies out, Ancelotti's not going to have the patience of the board or of the fans that he had at Goodison. He's not going to have that in Madrid. He knows he's not going to have that, but I don't think he quite understands quite how much they're craving to win something next season Real Madrid, because what is it I saw the other day? I think 5 different Spanish sides have won a trophy in the last season or so. Real Madrid aren't one of them. Which is bizarre.
Maybe that's
they won nothing last season.
What he wants.
Desperate to win something.
Maybe he wants the pressure. Maybe, maybe that's what he thrives under. Maybe at Everton he was always going to have it not easy as such, but he was always going to have it where there's still an element of, okay, there's a process going on here. We know that as long as he gets himself, let's face it, if he gets himself into top 6, we're going to be delighted with it. We're going to be, unbelievable. The important thing is now he's gone, and that ain't going to change. The important thing is now is who comes in, and this is where at the moment,
no, of course,
God, there's names galore being thrown around. The front runner at the moment, it seems to be Nuno Espirito Santo. My response exactly. Right. I like him. I like him as a manager. I think he's done a really good job at Wolves.
Yeah, man, I like that Wolves team.
Is he going to take us to the next level? I don't know. Conte is going to go to Spurs. That seems nailed on. Go on, Greg. Your opinion on it?
I've got a quick question about Nuno. Obviously, a few weeks ago, he's leaving. There was a bit of a send off. It was never planned that he was going to leave Wolves to Everton, was it? Where was he intending to go, do you think?
There's nowhere in mind.
Don't know.
He's linked with the Palace job, and now he's linked with Everton. Well, it's been Palace. He's been linked with him and then Everton.
In the nicest way, if you're Nuno, why are you leaving Wolves to go to Palace?
Well, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Wolves. Sorry, Palace. If we have any Palace fans that listen, and I like Crystal Palace. I've got a lot of time for them. Of all the London clubs, I actually really respect Palace. But for me, I'd say if you're looking at a conversation between Wolves and Palace, Wolves. But
Well, I thought he was leaving because
I think he
something
was
was
just
lined
leaving.
up, you know. But
No, I think he probably thought he could take Wolves as far as he can take them at the moment, and he maybe thought it was time for another guy to take over, you know, and take the club on further whilst he pursued a career, maybe an international role will come up to the Euros, maybe a job abroad, who knows, you know. But I don't think he actually did it with any intention of getting, to be perfectly honest, another Premier League job, or certainly not the Everton job, because no one knew the Everton job was going to come available until yesterday. But that's what the thing is now. I think with Everton, I liken it now. It's really strange. It's a bit like we've been finished with. A girlfriend's finished with us. A girlfriend who we held up on a pedestal. And one thing you never do with a partner is hold them up on a pedestal and think they're absolutely amazing no matter what they do. And we've held Ancelotti onto a pedestal because of what he's done in the past, fair enough. And what success. But you have to look at the cold hard facts and go 12th, then 10th. Not great. What's his cup record been like? Not wonderful. A couple of quarter-final defeats at home this season. And I think, given the hurt that the club will be going through, the board will be going through, you have to say that maybe the club now needs to take a bit of time to reflect and say, right, let's not rush into an appointment. Whoever's available, fine. But let's not rush into, I don't know, a Nuno Espirito Santo or a Rafa Benitez or, God forbid, an Eddie Howe, who, again, I like Eddie Howe, but not for Everton. Not right now. Not his time. We need to take a bit of stock and just realise the direction we want to go in as a club. There needs to be a blueprint for the club from the top down, and we need a manager who can fit that role. And to be perfectly frank, I don't know who that is.
Well, I was just going to ask you that. Who, looking at the list, who stands out, and who do you think that's the guy? Do you know? Because I've got a list here. I've just been googling about 8 of them, but none of them really sticking out for me.
I was going to say, go through the names. I mean, the hilarious ones. I'll start with the ones that are hilarious. Steven Gerrard. There's a 1% of me that would quite like to see it because it would be hilarious.
Why?
Because no, hang on. No, here's why, Greg. Here's why. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm not saying at all. I think he's done a great job at Rangers. He's done an excellent job at Rangers. They went unbeaten.
Wonderful job.
Wonderful job. Albeit in the Scottish League. No offence to Scottish League, but he's been brilliant. It's still a decent Celtic side.
Yeah, what's in front of you though, and he's done fantastic. Yeah,
he's done a
good
great job.
There, you know,
massively good job. All credit to him. Here's why I think it would be hilarious. You would be guaranteed the first trophy we win in 26 years. It'd be fecking Steven Gerrard who'd be the manager to win it for us, and the Reds would never let us. They would never let us forget it. This is why between him and Benitez,
they'd claim the trophy for themselves.
Exactly, of course they would.
They'd be like Agent Gerrard or something.
Exactly. It's either that or you get us relegated. One of the two. Either way. Gerrard's never going to happen.
Yeah,
he's never going to want us to come to Everton.
No,
and
it's not
albeit he's lined up for the Liverpool job.
The board aren't going to want it.
Exactly. These are names that people are just throwing out there on Twitter in a way.
I think Gerrard, with the great respect to Rangers, has got another job in between Rangers and the Liverpool job yet.
Probably, maybe a sort of Premier League club.
I think there's another job in between. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Palace look at him or Wolves look at him. To be perfectly frank with you,
maybe.
Wolves have got. I think
Wolves.
Who have Wolves got lined up? It's been not agreed as such, but who have they got? It's this Portuguese manager. Shock.
Fonseca
escapes me.
From Porto.
No, it's not. It's someone else. I'll Google it. I'll Google it.
Not the one from Roma. No, that's.
Have a look. Hang on. 1 sec.
I'll Google it now. Hang on.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I could see the Palace. I mean, the Palace job you could say is a slight irony with Istanbul, but
it's
but no,
Bruno.
Steven Gerrard to Everton is not going to happen.
Bruno Lage.
Bruno Lage.
Bruno Mars.
Yeah, Bruno Mars.
Bruno who?
Bruno
who? Sorry,
former Benfica manager.
Bruno Lage.
Lage, I don't even pronounce it. Him, anyway. He's lined up for the Wolves job.
Never, in the nicest way to this man, I'm sure he's a very good manager.
Never
Former Benfica coach for a season. He's got experience in English football of being Sheffield Wednesday and Swansea assistant. He seems to be his managerial career. He's been Benfica B for a year and Benfica for a season. It wasn't even. He hasn't managed for about a year and a bit. That's interesting.
It's a very Wolves appointment.
Obviously, he's on the books of Jorge Mendes, which is why he's got the job. But okay, I honestly thought in the night. I mean, he could be really good, but I honestly thought Wolves would have been in for maybe somebody a bit more pedigree than that. But no, fair enough. If it works, it works. Fair play to him.
Anyway, go back to the names.
Okay.
But Benitez is the one that he was linked with us before Ancelotti came in. There's a weird mix. I personally quite like Benitez. Is the history going to be too much of him being a Liverpool manager who won, Champions League at Liverpool? He won a Europa League, wasn't it? I think at Chelsea. He's an excellent manager.
And the FA Cup of Liverpool as well.
Knows the area, still lives around here. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see it happening. I don't know if he would do it. I know he's very good with the area. I know he still lives. He's still got a house around. Liverpool, Wirral away. I just don't see us doing it. I don't see an Everton board appointing Benitez. It would take a lot of convincing for the fans to get on board with it. It's also one of those situations that if things didn't start to go well, we turn early because it's Benitez. I think the history kind of gets in the way of what could possibly happen. I mean, other names being thrown about. Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe, I like Eddie Howe. Not ready. No, it hasn't. Did a good job at Bournemouth. Then got relegated with them. It's not what we need. Other names, Paulo Fonseca's been linked with us.
I mean, there's some hilarious names. To be fair,
I can go through the list. Yeah.
Go on, Greg. Go through the list.
If I'll go through the list, and then you two can just give your opinion on the list. Obviously, we've got Nuno Santo. That's number one on this particular list I've got. This is Sky Sports.
I think he's the one we'll end up with. I think it'll be Nuno. I think it'll be Nuno Santo.
But is that none of the Marco Silva type appointment though? Not because he's Portuguese, but a guy who's done okay at a big club in Wolves. Don't get me wrong. Or we just going to end up then looking at Wolves players and it being a bit like,
I just think it's more the case of everyone that's available and makes the most amount of sense. I think it's him.
Let's not forget that the Euros are coming up. And after the Euros, some managers will come available.
Well, yeah, exactly. Go on, Greg.
You've also got Eddie Howe is the second number 2 on this.
No, it won't happen.
Sorry.
Number 3, Rafa. Number 4.
Don't think it'll happen.
Number 4 is David Moyes.
No, it won't happen. He'll sign a new deal with
He's not
West
leaving
Ham.
West Ham, is he?
Why would he leave?
He's not leaving West Ham. Why
European football. Not worth it.
He's got himself his foot in the door at West Ham now. He's able to do at West Ham what he did with us about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So
he's building.
No.
He's building a team that he likes.
Best for him, best for us, best for them. Yeah, he's built a team in his image. Can't blame him for staying at West Ham. It's fair enough.
No. Next one, Antonio Conte.
No, who got to
you
Spurs?
say Spurs? I don't know. Do you think so?
Spurs. Yeah, I think it's Spurs.
Yeah, but is that the best thing for Spurs? Like, I think funny.
Didn't say it was the best thing for Spurs. Spurs appointed Jose Mourinho 18 months ago. Look where they are now. I think Spurs.
Yeah, but is Conte just not another?
Didn't say. I agree with it. Didn't say it'd be a good deal. That's where I think he'll end up. Or, in some kind of shock, he'll end up at PSG, and they'll have Pochettino back. In my opinion, I'll put that out as well. Pochettino, I would kind of like as a fairy tale thing him to go back to Spurs. On the face of it, why would you go back to Spurs? Because nothing's really changed in the past 18 months. It's the same squad that turned on him. It's the same owner that sacked him with all the same issues that you left with in the first place. So unless there's been some weird promise from Daniel Levy to give him all the money in the transfer window, really don't see why he goes back. But that's, again, I think that's what will happen. Yeah. I think Conte will end up at Spurs. The rumours seem to be that anyway. Whether it will end well or not,
Big Dunk.
No.
Big
I
Dunk
love
is
Dunk.
next on the list.
Won't happen.
Nope. Sorry, it's the emotional one. He got us through a bad spell on adrenaline, and you can't play a full season on adrenaline. You can play 3 or 4 games by just fist pumping, wearing wristbands in the rain with no jacket on, going up to the away fans at Old Trafford, going crazy, hugging ball boys, and summing off Moise Keane after 25 seconds. But you cannot do that for an entire season. It's not possible.
I don't think he'd want it either.
He wouldn't want it, and it'd be too emotional for him. He wouldn't manage. He would start his reputation at the club. He just wouldn't. He wouldn't be able to do it. I don't think. As much as I love Dunk, he's my first footballing hero and one of my very few footballing idols.
I was a bit gutted that Big Duncan's not going with
to Madrid. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
What's his name? The
Carlo.
Stories that would come out of that.
I've got visions of him cutting around Madrid. No, Paul, I want an iron boot.
Have you seen though? He does this thing. He stands around the pitch at Goodison giving out people pay him to do shout outs for people. And it's all right there, he's. I'm not doing the accent of it. He's like, oh yeah, mate, yeah, just say. And there's one lad who wasn't working hard at school, and his brother sent him a shout out. Duncan Ferguson, I've heard you're not pulling your weight at school, and he's like, oh, you better fucking book your ideas up, son, or whatever. And he's having to go. Imagine that in Spain. All right there, Juan. I hear you're not doing so well with your English lessons. Well, you better fucking book your ideas up, or I'm going to come round and slam some, castanets on your head or something. It's like, what? You imagine him trying to do that to the Real Madrid fans? It'd be like, oh my god, no.
Ferguson's a great coach, and he's clearly a good coach because he's lasted
teaching Karen Benzema to finish
5 managers. Yeah, can you imagine? What do you want to do? You want to punch him before you put the ball in the back of the head, can you, mate? Use your elbows, Karim. Use your elbows.
I'm going to put him into a head. Can we apologise for any Scottish listeners, by the way?
Yeah, apologies.
We know we have some.
We might have to apologise to James if he's listening.
It's not an offensive
accent. And indeed anyone else from Scotland. Or indeed anyone that...
It's all done in Florida.
Or indeed to headphone listeners generally.
Frank Lampard is next on that list.
Meh.
Oh, no.
Meh.
He'd come in and be like, make a joke about something then. Oh, but seriously. And I don't. He needs more time doing his apprenticeship because he's had the one job that he really wanted, didn't quite go to plan. Are we really going to be the rebound?
Get him to Celtic.
Sorry, I don't want to be a rebound.
Perfect fit for Lampard is Crystal Palace, I think.
Palace or Celtic?
Again, respect to Palace, I think that'd be a good job.
I think so.
I think Celtic again, that Ange Postecoglou, aren't they? From somewhere, I can't remember. Israel somewhere? He's Australian, isn't he, Postecoglou? But
it's a very Celtic appointment.
Well, I think Celtic are Celtic. Yeah, it's a bit left field, but it's very Celtic. Yeah. It's like the Ronnie Dyler one. I think they're getting him as talk of that now. There was talk, obviously, of how that broke down. Who knows why. Maybe couldn't get his family to relocate up to Glasgow, because it's quite a distance from down south, isn't it, to be fair? Yeah, but I mean, look, there's odds on Wayne Rooney being the next Everton manager. The guy nearly got Derby from the Championship. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we do not want Wayne Rooney as Everton manager or ever to be Everton manager. He didn't look like he had a clue how to battle his way out of a wet paper bag when he managed Derby. So there's no way.
I love the idea of Wayne Rooney and manager taking us to Anfield. Right, lads, just put the ball in the back of the net. Never gonna happen. I mean,
also, can you imagine some of the foreign stars we've got trying to understand this team talks?
Exactly.
Never mind that. Could you imagine the likes of Tom Davis trying to understand his team talks?
Hammer sat there going,
coming in with a harsh toxic accent.
I was trying to think of names before because I was trying to think of names that haven't been mentioned. The first one that came up that I kind of thought would probably never happen, but I won't mind it, is Ralph Husenholm from Saints. I think he's done a very good job in the face of they got beat.
Are we going to
beat 9-0 twice?
Are we going to go down the route of nicking a Southampton manager again, though? Because that's not a good move.
I know. This is the thing. The Premier League, I don't think there's anyone that stands out.
Something we've done before.
The only Premier League manager that would stand... Okay, let's say hypothetically, this is not things that are never going to happen. if I'm pointing out the managers, let's say tomorrow you can have your pick of the managers, apart from the Peps and the Klopps, and those kind of managers, the Tuchels. Bielsa would be hilarious for a season because he would run those players into the ground.
Not leaving Leeds though.
But exactly,
I want someone like that. I want like a Jorge Sampaoli type job. I know he's at Marseille. Someone like him who's just going to be nuts. Why not?
This is kind of what we need. I mean,
hand the players as artists to them.
Because I was thinking before, I've seen tweets the past 24 hours, and everyone's saying we need someone to come in and see Everton as a big opportunity and really take to it. And I was thinking, what style of football do they need to play? And actually, the style of football you need to play to appease Evertonians isn't that difficult. It's counter-attacking, fast-paced football.
It's hard getting stuck in. We don't need. I mean, in the nice way, we don't need. I mean, tiki-taka is gorgeous, but we don't need it.
It's not how we like to. It's not been. Look at the sides of the 80s. They weren't. It was school of science stuff. It wasn't. It was good football. Don't get me wrong.
Teams, but
it was not. Exactly. It's a side which actually
Barcelona needs. 2009.
No, of course it wasn't. Christ no. It's actually the side of football we would like to play is very similar to what Klopp has brought us at Liverpool, which is. They get stuck in, but they're fast. When they go, they go. They're at you from 90 minutes. That's what we want. And the squad doesn't match that style of play. It doesn't. Asking Gylfi Sigurdsson to run for 90 minutes is hilarious. There's parts of those players that are kind of coming into that squad. It's still probably a good 4 or 5 players short of really, really being competitive in a top 6 capacity or a top 7 these days, put it that way. I just can't think of a manager who fits that mould. I've seen today
because not many managers do that style anymore because the FA blueprint or the blueprint around the world is to be all about pass and movement, which is fine and great. Exactly. Obviously, the Graham Potter type mould, which I've heard Graham Potter linked. No, sorry, I like Graham Potter.
He's on the list. He's after Frank on the list.
Good job at Brighton. Don't get me wrong, but no, sorry, he's not got enough experience for me. At the top level, he's done quite a bit of work. I think in Norway or Sweden, something like that. I think he made him the Östersunds manager when they played Arsenal in the Europa League years ago. And I like what he's done with Brighton, but it's not. Yeah, I'm going through my head now. Managers who play that kind of up and at them kind of football, and you just don't get it the same anymore, do you?
Because who else did I see linked today? Ralph, what's his name?
Ralph Rangnick.
That was it.
The Red Bull director guy who's been at Milan for a bit. He's done a lot. I think he's been at RB Leipzig, Milan, Schalke, a few teams like that.
He was linked apparently. I don't know enough about him to judge. You probably know more than I will.
I can't say enough. I know a little bit more, but not much. And it's a tough one because he's been more of a director of football than an actual manager lately. So. Yeah. His experience of being hands-on.
The way I picture the Everton board at the moment is that meme of the guy sat with all the fire around him, just saying this is fine. That appears to be the way because I don't think they've got a clue. I
think it's a dog. I've seen the meme, but yeah,
is it a dog? Whatever is that now? I think this came as a shock. It came as a shock, and I think it's left them with a job they weren't expecting to do this summer. And I really don't know which way they turn because it's a big thing. It's a big chance because you're asking someone to follow someone that you invested a lot of money in last summer especially, and giving him, what was it, 11 million quid a year contract, whatever it was, something stupid.
Hell of a contract.
And this is the weird thing about Carlo leaving because at first I was gutted, and then you say before about we finished 12th, then we finished 10th. This is why I'm gutted, but not overly disappointed because if it had left us, with a top 6 finish, I'd be more frightened about someone coming in, trying to take over that job and thinking that, he's gone in there as a top tier manager, has really turned it around. We need someone who's going to come in and match that same level. But in the day, you're asking someone to come in and better 10th, which with that squad is very much doable. Oh, it'd be tough because a lot of teams,
also, let's not forget though, Matt, that if it all comes like a house of cards, it could be much worse than 10th as well.
I agree.
With the players we've got and with the money available to us, we should be easily attaining better than 10th next season. but better teams have dropped off, and there is potential. When you look at some of the sides coming up, Norwich will come back stronger, Watford come back stronger, Brentford look a really well-assembled side. I just don't know whether we're really in. If this appointment doesn't go right, we are in danger next season of having a catastrophe. Never mind finishing 10th, 11th, 12th. It could get, and I'm not a doom monger, I'm not being ultra pessimistic. Genuine, with the attitude in that squad at the moment, especially with the home form, it could go disastrously wrong next season if we're not careful.
Because this is the issue you've got. We could be sat here at Christmas, for example, fighting for the top four and sitting there going, well, actually, it was a blessing in disguise. Or we could be sat here going, battling relegation, sitting there thinking, Christ, he did more of a job than we gave him credit for. It's a really weird place to be because I just don't know which way we're going to go. And the part of me wants us to get it sorted and get it done so we can get a blueprint for the summer. We can start getting players in that a manager wants, or if it's Marcel Brands, director of football, who he wants to fit a certain image. Or do we take our time, find the right person, knowing that actually we might spend the first 6 months putting a lot of square pegs in round holes and that kind of stuff, trying to make things work. I don't know. I really haven't got a clue where we're going to be sat here in August, who's going to be in charge, and if we're going to have a squad that I feel is competitive enough to challenge for those European places next season.
I've just thought of one name I would actually really like to have, but whether he'd come is a different story. You've mentioned Marcel Brands, Netherlands, Erik ten Hag at Ajax.
I have seen that. I've seen that as a few fans have wanted that.
My only issue being, and I say this objectively, why at the moment, other than money, which I know is a big factor, would you leave Ajax to come to Everton? When you're winning the Eredivisie most seasons, you've got Champions League football, you're a huge football club in Ajax already. I would argue, a bigger club than Everton. But for the fact that the Eredivisie's not got much money in it, they're a bigger club than us. The only thing we've got going our way is we could probably afford to pay him more and give him a bigger transfer budget. But then there'll be a club in Germany. They'll be like, say, I don't know, not the Borussia Dortmund job because they've just got Marco Rose in from Mönchengladbach. But there could be potentially, a whoever might come in from like a job in Germany or a job in France at the Lille job, because Christophe Gauthier has just left Lille. Again, he wouldn't be a bad shout. He's just won the league title there. I don't know enough about him other than winning a league with Lille recently. Plus, he sounds like a really, really high-end fashion designer, which is kind of cool.
What I do want this time, I don't want
Christophe. Yeah.
I'm hoping they leak, because Marcel Brands' job as director of football is to go out and find someone who he thinks fits the mould. I think the issue last time is, and not last time, but a few times before, I think, and this is nothing against Farhad Moshiri, I think he's got himself involved to a certain extent with the recruitment process of managers, and maybe that might have been an issue. He wanted, his Hollywood manager, his big statement, who has now sacked him off after 18 months. So where do you go from here? And it's a really strange time because I just can't call until I see, the tweets and the pictures of the new manager. I really haven't got a clue who the hell they're going to turn to.
Right. I'm gonna refer back to an old podcast. Remember we chat with James Craven about Newcastle? About the difference between Rafa and Steve Bruce, and he goes, Steve Bruce isn't as sexy as Rafa.
Yeah.
And we talked about sexy Bruce, that. Well, I know we joked about the sexiness of managers, but you just mentioned that with Marcel Brands, with Farhad Moshiri. Have we almost tried to go, apart from Allardyce, of course, because there's nothing sexy about that man anyway, but have we almost tried to go too sexy with our managerial appointments down the last... And I don't mean as in, physically attractive, although Marco Silva was quite a handsome man. Dare I say. But do you think we've gone a bit too sexy down the years, and we've gone for the name, a Koeman, Martinez playing sexy football, even though Wigan got relegated, but he hammered 3 passes in the cup, so, we'll sign him. Silva, who wanted to come to us and then left Watford, joined us, but then it didn't turn out right. Ancelotti, his CV spoke for itself. And this is going to get a bit of derision from blues from supporters of other clubs, from everyone. But and I know this is a name that gets bounded around a lot whenever a Premier League job comes up because he's done a decent job. But why not give Sean Dyche an opportunity? Other than the fact that he's already at a good club in Burnley, and I'm not suggesting that we should, by some divine right, take him from Burnley, because I think he's got a good job at Burnley, he's done really well, and there is potential to build more, but it's clear we've got a bigger transfer budget than Burnley have. And he's built a good team in his image, they're up and at him, he's brought some youth through. And I just think, people say, oh, he never gets the chance at a bigger job. Well, we could be the bigger job. I'm not suggesting that, by some right that we're going to get him, because he might go, you know what, I don't fancy the Everton job. I've got a job at Burnley. People might say, oh, it's a sideways move. Well, you might think that, but then managers have made moves before now from one club to another because the budget's bigger, because they see the potential bigger. Dyche might see the Everton, and he's still a relatively young manager, he might see the Everton job as an opportunity to really propel himself and the club into that top six.
I mean, is it really a sideways move when Burnley just about scraped relegation? So,
well, no, but
there's 10 points, but they were bottom fourth, weren't they?
In a bottom half of the league where it was much of a muchness, because we kind of knew the bottom three that were going down. Newcastle pulled away at the end of the season, and then we're going to finish about 17th and came like 12th. It was one of those where it was a bit of a lottery between like Brighton, Newcastle, Burnley, Southampton, who could come 17th. They were never really in danger of going down as such. But then you've got to, if you look at it, I haven't got it up now, if you look at what Burnley have actually spent, and Dyche has spoken about his frustrations with the board at Burnley, for not spending that much on not being able to splash out on players. He's done well with what he's been given. I'm not saying, because I know we have a Burnley fan that might listen, I'm not suggesting for a minute we're going to take the manager. I don't think we are. In the same way that it's been talked about him going to Palace, I don't see why he would necessarily go from Burnley to Palace. That for me is a sideways move. And he's, but it's just that people saying, oh, why isn't he given a bigger job? Well, Chelsea aren't going to look at him. United aren't going to look at him. Why don't Everton have a look at him? He's not a sexy appointment, by any means. He looks like a Scotch egg. But, I don't care. So long as somebody comes in, I don't care if they've got green skin and three heads and come from, like, I don't know, somewhere like Bognor Regis. I couldn't give a crap. I want the right manager for the job to take us forward.
I think that's the best shout, because you've tried to go down the European route with Coleman and what's his name?
Silva.
Lad who's just left. Ancelotti. And then Silva, sort of, but obviously the other two are quite well known. I think Everton need Sean Dyche. That's the type of signing that. I don't know. I think you've exhausted all the other styles in a strange way, and not styles, but stereotypes and. Ancelotti's going to do this and things like that, and philosophies. I think that might be the way forward.
Yeah, I mean, no, at the same time, I don't want to sound Brexit with it though, because I'm not being that. I am being open-minded, but sometimes you've got to say other ways haven't worked. When you look at the Moyes appointment back in 2002 after Walter Smith was sacked, it was a manager from the Championship who just lost or Division 1 at the time, the second division, who just lost the playoff final. He was a young manager. He wasn't the sexiest appointment that could have been around at the time, but he was a good young manager that earned his pedigree. And I just think there's a certain type of manager that might suit Everton more than the big international coach that jibs you off for Real Madrid at the first, glance.
Well, put into context, okay, look at Leicester. Leicester are the side that we should be looking to emulate. They've bought well. Brendan Rodgers hasn't got, has earned his pedigree. He's obviously won things at Celtic, did a good job at Liverpool, was lucky not to win the league title, was it 2014?
Swansea job, he was brilliant.
That's what I mean. So
his Swansea role, bear in mind, he'd been a bit naff at Watford and Reading. The Swansea job was brilliant.
So I think it's someone in that kind of mould where Leicester play some great football. They really do. They play some really, really good football. But also when they need to be a bit dogged, not pretty, just get the job done, they will do it. Albeit, I know they bottled top 4 this season. But, still won an FA Cup. I still class that as 5th in an FA Cup.
You give them fifth in the FA Cup rather than 4th and no FA Cup. I think Leicester fans would take the 5th in the FA Cup rather than finishing 4th and no trophies.
Exactly. They'll do really well. The Europa League, if they, again, depending on the summer, if they buy well, they've got a good squad there building up with some good young players as well as some...
chance of winning it.
Yeah, absolutely got a good chance of winning it.
Yeah, good chance.
It's getting someone of that who comes in who has just got that hunger to take a team which is fledgling a little bit or has had, in his case, a bit of past success with obviously winning the league and that kind of stuff, but went in there and is just giving it not a massive overhaul, but giving it enough that's just taking it onwards and taking what old managers have done and gone, right, okay, that was working well, let's get rid of that. Let's fix this, whatever else. And this year I've got is I just sit here and think, who the hell do we get? And, it's up to people who earn a lot more money than ourselves to make that decision. And I hope to God they make the right one. I mean, Sean Dyche, I actually don't disagree with the appointment. I think he's earned a job like Everton because I think Burnley actually get a bit of a bad rep. I think they actually play some really, really good football.
Definitely.
Playing Everton a Goodison season wasn't exactly a hard trip, but they battered us for 90 minutes. They played some really, really good stuff. And I think he would go in there and he would also show a few of those players that they've just not done enough to justify being the players that they think they are. And it's a squad, again, it's a squad that needs culling. It needs... A lot of those players just need to be gone. I mean, I know a few have gone this already with contracts expiring, but you're still looking at, the Alex Iwobis in that squad. You're still looking at, as much as I like Bernard, he's not done much in the past couple of seasons, really.
He's not. He's destined for a move back to the Ukraine or the Middle East or something. And he's
it was something in those lines.
He's not up to the league in this country. He's sadly, there's a lot of players that need to go.
There's enough in that squad that someone could bring him in. I mean, we need pace in the wings, a new right back. Because again, I love James Colmy, brilliant, but he's not good enough for week in, week out football. He's good as a backup these days, but not week in, week out. There's players now that need to go. Mason Holgate, I want to like Mason Holgate. I try to like him, but he had a terrible end to the season. Had some horrid games against Villa was one of them, and I think City was atrocious against City. Ben Godfrey, look at the spine of a squad. You've got Pickford, Godfrey, Doucouré, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin is kind of the team who you want to be building that team around. Lucas Digne on the left. It's got potential. It's absolutely got potential. It just needs to get rid of those players who don't bring anything. Alex Iwobi, I don't get why we spent 40 million quid on him. He's been garbage. He's just Theo Walcott part 2. Arsenal must be laughing that we've given them probably shy of 60 million quid for those two players, and they've both been bloody awful. So who knows? We could be sat here in a couple of weeks' time, and we've got someone new in, and we're thinking, oh Jesus Christ, that was an interesting one. Or it could take them a month, because it might have to take them a month. They might have to wait and see who comes available. They might have to wait and see what they want to do, and I hope we take this time to just stop. I agree, take it, stop, sit back and go, what are we doing? Because if we've got a plan, it's fucked. That plan is beyond fucked. If there's a plan in place, who the fuck do that? I have no idea, because it's the plan that makes little to no sense. It needs, what Leicester have done. It needs those things where you go, right, this is how we're playing. We're going to get a manager, and we're going to buy players to fit this style of football. It can't just be stick a load of players in and it'll be fine. It doesn't work, because we've got some of the players in that squad will fit that style of football that Everton fans like. Calvert-Lewin can be that striker that we want. Richarlison can be that player that we want. Alan Doucouré, James, I don't think will stay. James is back in Madrid, nailed on next season. In my eyes, he'll follow Carlo, or he'll go into Colombia or whatever else. I have no idea. I honestly have not got a clue, because there's no obvious choice. There's no obvious candidate for the job. I mean, Carlo, when we got him, was like Christmas is all I want. It was just, this is never going to happen.
It's like pulling a rabbit out of the hat, isn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly. It was seen as just a bit of a joke that we were even going for him, and then something happened, and he was there. It was, oh bloody hell, this is brilliant. But this time I agree. There's no obvious person to take over. When Moyes left, Martinez seemed the obvious person to take over. Albeit Wigan got relegated, they won the FA Cup. And that first season, we were brilliant. That first season, the Martinez, some of the best football I've seen in Everton side play in a long, long time. And then it all went downhill, obviously. But Christ knows where we're going to end up in a few weeks' time. But we'll have to wait and see.
Unless you want to talk about the Everton City game. I know it was a 5-0, but you don't really want to go over that.
That's not great. There's no point now, mate.
Right,
we were shit.
we'll analyse that. City went 2 up really quickly. I switched off and we lost 5-0. There you go. That's the summary of the game done.
And we handed Aguero 2 goals to finish it off.
Yeah, and that black kit's already cursed. And by the way, it's sunburnt orange, not red on the sash. There.
I don't know what you're on about.
What a kit.
What a kit, though. The new Everton away kit. Google it.
Oh, yes, it's brilliant. It's a really nice kit, that. I know, obviously, I had to ask you about the heritage and all that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't have known that, but it was...
No, it's fair enough.
Really, that's a very nice kit.
Aye.
Very nice kit.
Aye.
Another nice kit that's come out is that Tranmere kit.
Ooh, yes. Mate of mine designed it. Well, I say mate, an old school friend of mine. I'll name drop him now, Ben Longthorne. Massive Liverpool fan, just as an aside, but absolutely lovely bloke, and he's buzzing all over his Instagram and his Facebook and stuff that his design won, and now it's come to life, and it is a real throwback. For those that don't know, it's a real throwback to the mid-90s, sort of John Aldridge, Kenny Irons, when Mickey Mellon played, funnily enough. Kind of the old badge is so good. We won the matches, the mural in Oxford Village. Badge. So nice. The old Bergenhead emblem, crest of arms, coat of arms even. It's a shirt I'll definitely be buying. It is stunning. And let's hope it's a shirt that Tranmere wore in the old Division 2, i.e. the Championship. Let's hope it's a shirt that can get them back up into at least League 1 next season. I think it's a stunning shirt. I really do.
Is that badge going to be... Are they going to have it on all 3 kits, or is it just one kit?
I think it's going to be on all 3. I think the new... I can't remember the name of the new company that's making their shirts now, but I think they've decided to go with back to the old, like, retro Birkenhead coat of arms badge. They've still got the more modern Tranmere Rovers badge around the ground, so you go past, there's still, like, big things up on the stadium things and all that, but it's a bit like Liverpool, I guess. They've got the Liverbird badge, the LFC Liverbird badge, but they still have their own, their more modern badge with the Shankly Gates on and what have you, used for other things as their official club badge, club crest. So, yeah.
I'm just trying to find the brand, the make.
Can't remember the name, but now someone listening will know.
It's like Warrior or something.
It's not Warrior because they're now what are known as New Balance, but yeah, it is a stunning kit.
Cracking little kit. Oh, got it here. Hang on. It is Mills.
I think they're Indonesian. I could be wrong. There's a connection with Indonesia and Tranmere at the moment, or Malaysia. Yeah. Sorry, don't know which country. Do apologise to those people who are Indonesia or Malaysian. But listen, not that we have many.
Actually, whilst we're on the Tranmere front, we've had quite a bit of Tranmere there, haven't we? We've had.
We have.
They've lost in the playoffs, and Mickey Mellon is back.
And Mickey Mellon is back, and all feels okay again on the Wirral, admittedly. It's not to disparage the great Sir Keith of Hill, because it's one of those where Keith Hill's a really good manager, but his face just didn't, as I've mentioned, his face just didn't really fit the Tranmere. It happens. It does happen.
Yeah.
It's life.
He'll be in another.
He'll be in another job somewhere soon. Don't get me wrong. He absolutely will be.
Bradford or something.
I think the Bradford job will be a decent one from anywhere, as we alluded to last time. But Mickey obviously went to Dundee United. It was their first year back in the Scottish Premiership. Did a solid job in the end. He's got some good players there, but it was one of those after a year where both mutually agreed to part ways. And before you know it, Rovers need a manager. Why not get the guy back that led into back-to-back promotions? Sounds good.
I remember. I tweeted. I messaged the pair of you and said, "Mickey Mellon, Tranmere," and you went, "It's a strong possibility," didn't you, Jim?
There was a lot of rumours, a lot of whispers going around last week. He was coming back, and he's back. And There's been a really positive reaction on social media from Rovers fans. They're glad to see him back. Mickey himself said, he's got unfinished business at the club. It's actually the 4th time he's signed for Tranmere. Signed twice as a player and now 2nd time as a manager. Fun little fact for you there. But, well, they always say never go back in football. Or indeed in relationships, or indeed in life. Or indeed on the motorway. But you do sort of think, it's hopefully going to be as brilliant as last time. But you just think, 2nd time around, he's got lots of up to expectation, getting us up. Bourne's just retired. There's Danny Lloyd's left, who was a really good player. He's not got James Nord. He's not got Connor Jennings, who I hope's recovering really well from his illness. He's not got core of the players that he had that took him up 2 divisions. And you just think, is it going to be as good as people are expecting? I hope he. Believe me, I
think so.
I hope, and the greatest respect, Greg, to your lot. I hope he smashes the league next season. But obviously,
I think they will.
With Dale coming a very comfortable 2nd, of course. Can I just point out? But
I don't know what's going on.
We'll get on to Rochdale. We'll get on to Rochdale and your amazing communication with the board that your club seems to have, as we spoke about last episode.
Or don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did actually. We did cover a lot. We covered a lot of Dale in the last one, so we'll
amazing in air quotes.
We'll keep Dale out of this one this time.
All right, fair enough. Okay. Yeah. But it's going to be an interesting season at Prenton Park. Hopefully, the fans back. And some cracking fixtures ahead because there's quite a local league next season. Obviously, Rochdale and McCain Morecambe have gone up the other way, but and to be fair, deserved it. Really good over the 2 legs in the playoffs, especially the game at Prenton Park. They did a job. They were solid. I can't complain at the end. I was gutted to go out, but they were a solid side, Morecambe. And fair play to Derek Adams, the manager there. He's taken Morecambe up to the 3rd tier for the first time ever in their history, which is a hell of an achievement on the budget they've got. They're always tipped to go down to the National League every year from League 2, so to go up, it's like having them and Accrington in League 1 next season. It's going to be so strange. But fair play. There are a couple of leagues above where you think they probably would be based on budget, fan base, club size. But no, cracking job. Fair play, Morecambe. Gutted for Newport to miss out again. I like Michael Flynn. I like Kevin Ellison. Who's about 103 now, but cracking player still. Veteran of Tranmere from about 2006, which is as long as he's been playing. Good for them. Josh Laverty as well, another former Tranmere player. I think missed a really good chance in that game in the final. But League 2 is shaping up to be interesting. We don't know the full lineup yet, do we, Greg? Because we're still waiting on the National League playoffs.
Just one team left, I think.
Because we know Sutton United are coming up to the National League, Football League, for the first time in their history, which is which is crazy.
Yeah, I had to Google where it is because I thought it were in Birmingham. It's near Epsom.
Yeah, it's in South London, southwest London.
Yeah.
I think we've been there.
If it were a bit closer, I'd probably.
I think Matt and I have been near Sutton because we've got family friends that live down sort of Morden way, I think.
Yeah.
You know the ones I mean, the Man City fans that they live down there. Man City pre Abu Dhabi money, I must point out, they were there in the old Division 3 days. Yes, just before you think, Man City fans in London, glory. No, seriously, they are genuinely not glory hunters. They are like the most amazing Man City fans you could wish to meet, and they're lovely people. But yeah, it's going to be interesting as well. I mean, can I just point out that in the National League playoffs, Wrexham absolutely bottled it. They were so close.
And Halifax.
Did Halifax bottle it as well? All I saw was the absolute.
Halifax.
All I saw was the absolute outcry from Tranmere and Chester fans absolutely laughing at Wrexham on Twitter because they were supposed to be making it into the playoffs and then bottled it and came 8th. So that's their 14th year consecutively in the National League for Wrexham, which is a hell of an achievement. That's something, really, isn't it? But hey, they'll have the big Hollywood ending next season and win the league by about 25 points, I'm sure.
Who are the American? You've got Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny.
Who's he?
He's in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Right. Yeah. Don't know him.
No, I mean I know more about Ryan Reynolds, of course, the whole Deadpool and Deadpool proposal. I think he's in a few things like that. Ryan Reynolds. So yeah.
Some classic rom-coms.
Yeah, some classic rom-coms, of course. They are actually very funny. They're very funny, and they've really got into their ownership of Wrexham. They're up at like 4:30 in the morning with their Wrexham shirts on, drinking Wrexham lager,
noticed that.
Watching the games against like Dagenham and Redbridge and Halifax and that. And fair play to them, they've really taken it on and taken the club to their heart. It's a good, you know what? I know, being of Tranmere persuasion, we're not supposed to like Wrexham, or indeed the entire nation of Wales, which sorry Wales, But I've got a lot of respect for Wrexham. It's a fantastic club. Fantastic town, really, to be fair, from wherever I've been. Mainly because I got a 10-kilometre PB there. But still, yeah.
I've been to Wrexham away with Dale, but that was about when I was about 14, something like that. Was it the racecourse ground? Right?
Yeah, it needs a bit of work doing. I think one stand's actually still been condemned, with the terrace there has actually not been used for about a decade at least.
It was easy to get to anyway.
I'm going to say really easy to get to, just off the motorway. I'm going to say actually a very likeable club. Wrexham got a lot of time for him.
Yeah.
I know I joke about them bottom of the playoffs, but I think that's just rivalry. It's what you do. At the end of the day, Blues have had it in the neck from Reds all day about losing Ancelotti. It's like, what trophy did you win? Because we lost Ancelotti. It's like, it happens, I
mean, I'm looking, just coming back to the conference, I'm looking at the playoffs. It still fucks with my head that there's 6 of them in the playoffs when there should be 4.
It's not that difficult to work out, really.
Right.
Essentially, let me just get the list up as well.
Sorry, I've got the list, Jim, if you need me to go through it. So we've got Torquay, Stockport.
Right.
Torquay, Stockport, Hartlepool.
Sure.
Notts County.
Sure.
Chesterfield.
Sure.
Bromley.
Right, so Bromley came 7th, right? Who came 3rd? Sorry, 4th. 4th even.
4th is Hartlepool.
Right, so Hartlepool play home to Bromley. 4th play 7th at home, right? And then 5th, which was Notts County.
Notts County.
Play home to Chesterfield. So the higher placed team, 4th place home to 7th. 5th place home to 6th, right? The winners of those 2 ties then go through to an away game against whoever came 2nd or 3rd.
Oof, wow, Torquay and Stockport.
So, in theory, say for example, okay, we'll go say with 4th place Hartlepool and 5th place Notts County win. Then you get 5th place Notts County going to 2nd place Torquay. 4th place Hartlepool going to 3rd place Stockport, which sounds like a cracking game. And then obviously the winners of them go and meet at Wembley. It depends on the league standings, really. But the higher ranked team will get the home leg. It's not played over 2 legs in the National League. It's played over 1 game. But
Has it been like that for a while?
It's been like that since 2018.
I've probably not been keeping an eye on it.
Well, no, to be fair, if it wasn't the fact that Tranmere won the first ever new format of the playoffs, then I wouldn't have known much about it. They beat Ebbsfleet at home in the semi because Tranmere came 2nd and got straight into the semis, didn't have to play the extra game, and then knocked out Boreham Wood in the final with 10 men. What a game. But yeah, so it's not as difficult as it looks to understand. It's just a case of, it's a bit like they have like a preliminary round where 4th, 7th play each other. The winners of that play get 2nd or 3rd in the semis, and the winners of that play in the final.
I mean, I shouldn't say this, but I do want Stockport to go up, even though they beat us at Wembley.
Yeah.
I'd have that back. I want that rivalry back. I know we don't like them and they don't like us, but I definitely want them back.
Of the clubs in the playoffs there, I'd happily have Stockport, Notts County. You know what? Stockport, Notts County, Hartlepool or Chesterfield. Because
I mean, both of us have written off Torquay United there. We don't want to go there. Too far.
Sorry, Torquay. I think you're great, and sorry if Helen Chamberlain's listening. I doubt she is. But it's too far. It's too far. But Stockport, decent sized ground, local away day. Yeah. But even Notts County and Chesterfield's not far away, and they've got decent sized grounds, so big away allocations. Should we be allowed to go? Hartlepool's not the worst,
hopefully.
Although it's a bit of a trek, especially if it's a wet Tuesday night in December. But no, okay, I'll scratch Hartlepool. Stockport will be my first choice, but Notts County, Chesterfield's not the worst in the world. Yeah. Although Notts County's always a bit of a nasty game with Tranmere, but I think in a way I kind of love that. It'd be quite funny.
Yeah,
because they're always a little bit nasty to play against. But yeah,
I'm sure there was one year where Rochdale beat Stockport. Was it 7-0 away from home?
Oh God, wow.
Ironically, I couldn't go to that game. I don't know
was it when Stockport were going through like absolute turmoil, though, and they like lost loads of
Was it
players.
like Didi Hamann as manager or something?
Something like that. Or, yeah, and they lost all.
I'm gonna have to have a look when it was.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see if we can find that.
Well, we must be previewing the Euros, by the way.
I'm just going to mention, whilst I'm looking for that game, let's do a little snippet for the Euros.
Bit of a U-turn from Stockport County to the European Championships. I mean, I didn't know how we ended up going on a tangent there, but we did.
So you know how we said before that Bukayo Saka shouldn't have gone to the Euros. He's just scored tonight.
Oh, right.
So we know nothing.
So basically, what do we know?
Yeah.
What do we know?
We know, fam. I mean, okay, Euros preview. The England squad is an interesting squad. The 4 right backs make it an intriguing prospect. I don't know what the quite thought process is, but seemingly, I mean, it seems daft saying that the surprise that Trent Alexander-Arnold's going, especially when he's been one of the best players in the league consistently for the past couple of seasons, he was always going to go. I think it's an interesting squad because I think it's got enough where we should be looking at the semi-finals as an absolute minimum. I agree there's some excellent sides in there as well. You know, the French obviously are probably strong favourites. The Germans, the Belgians, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of teams in there who are going to play well. It's a decent squad. I think it's a shame Mason Greenwood had to pull out with injury. I feel bad that Ben Godfrey's going and Tyrone Mings is. No offence to Tyrone Mings, but I think Godfrey's had an arguably a better season. But I think Southgate's picked a squad that he's more comfortable with. Probably knows the players more, which makes sense when you've got a couple of years to prep for a big tournament. And I think we'll do okay. I think we'll hopefully make a decent showing ourselves compared to 2016 anyway, with the Euros where we were atrocious for most of the tournament. I hope we can at least, winning it obviously would be the ideal. I think what I would like us to go and do again, a bit like in 2018 World Cup, is just go and make a decent showing ourselves. And actually this time, instead of it being us being the shock package, that we get there on merit, but at the same time with a bit of expectation that we've come through and done what we would expect an England team with this quality to do. It's my best way I can put it.
Yeah, I think we've got the talent to win it. We won't, but we've got the talent to win it. We'll find a way of messing it up somehow. We'll lose to Scotland or something, which, to be fair... Oh, did anyone see, by the way, that headline in that really horrible newspaper that I won't name about, it was Okai the Who, and it was just, basically questioning who the Scottish players were, and, just put that up on the Scotland dressing room wall.
Oh,
you know exactly the paper I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
You know exactly what they're doing.
Fun, by any chance?
And you're like,
right.
Yeah, it does. It's not fun, though, is it? But, yeah, you're thinking, why have you done that? Why are they, questioning, Lyndon Dykes at QPR or some of the lads in the Scottish Premier League? Because they're all professionals, and you know what? They're all very good players. Just thought I'd throw that out there to try and unjinx us from getting absolutely hammered in the first game. But we've got the players certainly going forward to win the whole lot. But then, so have a lot of countries. So have the French, the Spanish, the Belgians, I'd argue the Germans. The Dutch have got a good shout. Even though they haven't got Van Dijk, the Dutch have got a really good squad still. The only thing they're lacking maybe is a proper striker, with Depay being the only real forward option that you'd consider. But there's so many good sides in these Euros, and you just don't know. You mentioned about surprise packages. I mean, come on, the Welsh got into quarter the semis last time round. Croatia making the World Cup final 2018. Okay, it's a bit of an older Croatia side. You just don't know who's going to appear. You might get an amazing run from Slovakia or Finland Turkey are one to watch out for me. The players Turkey have got as a spine, they really could do some damage in this tournament. But going back
in the Scots,
I think Scotland will do well. I do. I think they might get off the group, which I think will be obviously a massive achievement for them to get out the group, having not been to a major tournament for 20 odd years. But going back to England, will we win it? No. Should we be looking to win it? We're looking to win it. Yes, we should be looking to try and win it. We've got the players there. When you look about the Champions League final being played between two English clubs with quite a big contingent of English players, the likes of Mount, Foden, Reece James, and so on there. When you look at some of the best players this season, young players, particularly have been English. We've got, Sancho and Bellingham have won the DFB Pokal with Borussia Dortmund. They've won basically the German FA Cup. That's pretty good. Kieran Trippier's won the La Liga title this season. So it's weird how we've got players that are actually having success abroad as well as in this country. And you think there's got to be the talent that's there. If it falls right on the right day. And let's not forget that the final, I think even both semis or one of the semis are being played at Wembley. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll do it. I'm not bigging us up to do it. But you can't say no chance. Whereas in the past we've gone, nah, we're not going to do it. 2018, I thought we were going to go out in the group. I thought Tunisia would beat us in the opening game and we'd go out in the group, which we didn't. We surprised everyone. Okay, we didn't really beat anyone massive, but we did okay. We need to redeem ourselves for some shoddy Euro showings. When you go... When's the last time... Okay, World Cup 2018 aside. When's the last time, you looked 96. At the Euros and thought, England did really well there?
I mean, if you go back and over, 96 is the one that jumps out straight away. The biggest opportunity we missed out on 2004. Will always be 2004. That squad deserved to win that tournament.
2004. I actually thought we did much... I always think 2004 was... We actually didn't do too badly. We were unlucky against a very good France side that we shouldn't forget had not long been... We're defending European champions. Battered Croatia, battered Switzerland, should have beaten Portugal. Just a quick call over the European finals before we go, because obviously both Manchester clubs lose in European finals. When there was talk of an all Manchester Super League. Well, yeah, Super League's a different story altogether. Super Cup final, but neither side could do it in the final. No. So thoughts on that? Surprised? Not surprised? Funny? Quite funny.
United bottling it. Not surprised.
No,
Chelsea winning it.
Thought Villarreal would actually beat them.
We actually called Chelsea winning it.
We all called that, and there's a bit of an audio clip with Danny Richardson saying it would be good if there was a Fernando Torres-like goal, and it was not a million miles off that goal. He did go round the keeper. Fair enough, it wasn't the same, but he did go round that keeper. And Danny, I'll try and clip that into this episode somehow, but this is what Danny said.
Probably not, though, because they've still got the Champions League final.
They'll walk that, it'll be fine.
Having lost to Chelsea twice in the last month. Nice one.
I think Chelsea are going to win it.
I think Chelsea could do it.
And a weird part of me, again, the sadist part of me, kind of wants them to, because it would just be quite funny. After all this talk about City being brilliant, City being amazing,
Aguero's last game.
The prep for Chelsea to go and win it 1-0, like a really crap goal, like a proper, I don't know, Marcos Alonso turns up and sticks something really crap. Would be kind of funny actually, with no fans in as well. Would be even better.
Yeah. In Turkey.
You want like Timo Werner to score? Timo Werner to score a goal like Torres. Do you remember that one that Torres scored?
Oh yes, that's what you want.
City pushing for a winner.
That's what you want, Gary Neville.
Pep just confused himself with not playing Fernandinho.
Yeah.
Which was just insane looking back at him, but
it's like he just number one himself.
Yeah, basically.
He didn't really have a number one, Was it no Fernandinho and was it no Rodri, or who was it? It was on the field.
Rodri.
Yeah, and it's like I think of all the games in the season where he'd either play Fernandinho or I want to say Rodri. I could be wrong on that one. Could be someone else. The only game he didn't play either player was the Champions League final. Why?
Bad. He was trying to be too smart.
He should be playing them. Just like to thank everyone for listening to episode 9, and we're going to try and get an episode during the Euros. Try and get Femi on, or Craven, or Brian, or even somebody that doesn't even support England, perhaps.
Yeah. Oh, can we get a non-English person?
Do we know anyone?
That'd be really exciting. Can we get another opinion on the Euros from maybe a Scot or a Welshman or a Finnish person? Do we know any Slovakians? No.
He's not Finnish. He's 28.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Anthony Niemi. Hey, one of the greatest jokes of all time.
It's the best one ever, isn't it? He's not Finnish.
So good.
He's 28.
He's not Finnish. He's not Finnish. He's 28. Why has he not been called for Scotland?
Sports Social Podcast Network.